This right here is the Logitech C615 webcam. This webcam can do HD and 1080p, and this was made back in 2011, so 12 years ago this was made, and this has a really cool feature that's gonna blow your mind away. So we go to our desktop right here and we open up the Logitech webcam software. We just reconnect to it. As you can see, there I am in beautiful 1080p video. And then we click on the controls on here. And this one, you go to the webcam options and has a thing called follow my face. In order to do that, we have to downgrade to 720p. 1080p is too much. We go on there and now we have follow my face. And if we click on here, guess what this camera does? Now this camera can follow your face as you move through the screen. And this is what Sony is selling on their new cameras. With their new AI chip, this is what Sony is capable of doing now. We can't give this upgrade to the older cameras because they don't have the AI chip, so they won't be able to do this amazing feature. Follow my face. Follow my face. See, it needs the AI chip in order to be able to do this. Cannot find my face. It found my face. This is what the new AI chips are capable of doing.
This has the auto crop mode where it'll actually punch in and automatically frame you up. And it actually works better than in the ZVE1 because we have a higher resolution sensor here. Now, rolling shutter performance on this camera is very good.
This is what the newer cameras are capable of doing. Welcome to the We'll Never Get a Sony sponsorship channel. On today's episode or video, these are not episodic, I don't know why I said episode, but we're going to be talking about the newer Sony cameras and why I really don't care about these cameras anymore. Like, I feel like with the newer Sony cameras, it's just, they're coming out with so many of them like so soon. Like, I feel like every month they're coming out with a brand new Sony camera. Why? I don't know why, and all they're doing is giving different software updates. Which the bad part about this whole system that Sony's doing nowadays is that if you're someone that bought a brand new Sony camera, let's say you bought an A1 for $6,000, you know, you're Sony's #1 customer, guess what they're doing? They're not releasing any new software updates for that camera. Instead, they're making cheaper, smaller cameras that get these updates, but they don't put it in their older cameras. I don't know why Sony is doing this stuff. I honestly have no idea. Just release software updates for your older cameras. Now, when it comes to Sony cameras, you know, the original A7 camera that we got right here, the one that started it all, that I still use this guy, previously made a video on this camera, so check out my last video if you want to hear me talk about this camera. But this camera is great, but when it came out, it had a lot of issues. And Sony over time was able to fix these issues. You know, with the A7, you know, the image quality out of the camera was great, but when it came to the autofocus in both photo and video, it wasn't that great. I still use this camera to this day, but if you have a fast-moving subject, it is really hard to take pictures with this camera. So for still subjects, it's fairly well, and in low light, it doesn't work that well either. But anyways, when the A7 II came out, that camera was okay. It wasn't that big of an upgrade. But when the A7 III came out, that's when the Sony took over the whole camera industry. With the A7 III, this is the A7R III, but you know, it's close enough. With the A7 III camera, they got the autofocus working in photography. For photography, the autofocus worked great. Pretty much doing any photography jobs with the A7 III or the A7R III, they do pretty much as good as you can get. Like, if you know, you can get like a Hasselblad or something, get a medium format camera, it's not gonna matter that much if you're shooting weddings or if you're doing any type of photography. With the A7 III, you can get it done, even with the A7R III also. A7R III, you just get better resolution, you get 42 megapixels besides 24, but you do get half the autofocusing points. So the autofocus isn't as good on this camera, it is on the A7 III. So with the A7 III, Sony got photography down. Now, when the A7 IV came out, that perfected videography in my opinion. Now, when I shoot with this stuff, I just shoot in 1080p, 24 frames per second, and for that stuff, it looks great. Doesn't matter if it's a professional shoot or if it's just a YouTube video like this. For pretty much any stuff, this camera for video works really well, and the autofocus in video is, in my opinion, perfect. Like, you want to focus on something, it works well, it focuses back on your face, like, has zero problems with the autofocus at all. So if this camera perfected video, A7 III perfected photo, what is there left to do? Now with the newer cameras, I don't know what Sony's doing. I understand if they want to make cheaper cameras so that other people can afford and get cameras like this, I get those, but I feel like half the cameras that are coming out nowadays, Sony's just releasing them because they just have like a bunch of, you know, extra sensors laying around or something. I really don't understand. And the worst part is that they're releasing these newer cameras and they're giving them software updates that they should be giving on the older cameras. Like the Sony A7S III owners still haven't received like half the updates that came out in the past 2 years, which is ridiculous. The Sony A7 IV, one of the main reasons I bought it is that it has more features and video than the A7S III. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. And then what Sony's doing nowadays is that they're pretty much re-releasing their older cameras in like slightly different bodies with slightly little, you know, adjustments to them. And then what they do is they give them software updates. Now they say, you know, there's a new AI chip, that's why it's capable of, you know, doing like the face tracking. That's BS in my opinion. That's just simple software shit that you can do with, you know, as you guys just saw, I showed it with an older Logitech webcam that you can do something similar with it. Also, they're saying, you know, there's like AI tracking and stuff, but honestly, again, A7 IV I feel like has perfect autofocus on it anyways. So I wish that like if they want to do, you know, some cool new features added to the camera, just add it to the older ones also. If someone's paying $6,000 for one of your cameras, they shouldn't have less features than some guy who's spending $500 for one of the cameras. Now, one thing that they can do, which as a consumer I wish they wouldn't do, but it's something they've done in the future that I wouldn't mind at this point if they brought back, is that on the original A7 they actually had a digital store where you can buy stuff. So for example, for like $2 or something, you can buy, for like $2 or something, you can add like time-lapse to this camera because it didn't come with time-lapse on it. So someone, I don't know if it was third-party or if it was third-party software, where you could just buy a time-lapse app on the camera itself and then you can do time-lapse to it. Something like that, it would be cool if they added to their cameras so that, you know, these cameras don't go obsolete once they come up with new softwares on the newer cameras. And I get it, like if, for example, if A7 IV has some software features over the A7 III, that makes sense. But if, for example, A1, there's no sequel to the A1, there's no A2, so why don't they bring the software stuff onto there? But anyways guys, let me know how you feel about the newer Sony cameras, because personally I just don't care. Since I got the A7 IV, it does everything I needed to do for both professional and personal work. So for me it's just like, it's cool that they're coming out with new cameras, but like none of them are that excited. I wish they would just, you know, hold out a little bit, make a camera maybe like once a year or something that actually people would want to get, instead of just really releasing, you know, the same exact stuff with just like slight adjustments. So I feel like that doesn't make sense. But anyways guys, maybe it makes sense to you. Let me know in the comment section below, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, everyone's favorite time now. We gotta make a YouTube thumbnail so that people will click on my video and I will become a big YouTuber. I'll take over Peter McKinnon or whoever is the top photography channel right now. Is this good? Will you click on this video? Click on this video!